Hello and welcome. My name is Kalila Jones, and I am the Outreach and Public Relations Coordinator for Moms in Motion at Home Your Way. Today, we have a presentation for you from the Disability Law Center, and we have two speakers who will be helping us out with that presentation. We have Rachel Loria. She is a disability rights advocate at the Disability Law Center of Virginia, where she has been working for 8 years. She works particularly on cases involving vocational services, pre employment, transition services, and assistive technology. She was born and raised in Richmond, where she also began her journey as a self advocate. She had the privilege of working with both Virginia Board for People with Disabilities and the Partnership for People with Disabilities in her 10-year career as a self advocate working to help individuals who have disabilities. She enjoys the work knowing that every day she makes a positive difference in the lives of people who have disabilities. And we also are working with Lydia English. Lydia is a disability rights advocate at the Disability Law Center of Virginia, where she works on cases involving vocational services, pre employment transition services, and connecting the underserved communities in the area of Virginia. She knows of firsthand experience the need and the importance of self advocacy on getting the services needed that will assist individuals who have disabilities. In her role as a community health worker for more than 20 years, she has dedicated her efforts to working with and for the community for the provision of proper services for those in need through education, outreach, and partnership. So, welcome and thank you so much, Rachel and Lydia. You guys can take it away. I'm just going to turn my camera off and get people the information they actually came here for.
Great. Thank you so much for having us. This is such a great outreach opportunity, and we're glad to be here. So,
You're
my name is Rachel
welcome.
Loria, and I'm here with my colleague Lydia English. Um, the Disability Law Center of Virginia is the protection and advocacy agency throughout the state for people with disabilities. Our mission is that through zealous and effective advocacy and legal representation, we work to protect, advance legal, human, and civil rights of people with disabilities, combat and prevent abuse, neglect, and discrimination, and also promote independence, choice, and self-determination by people with disabilities. Obviously, that seems like a really huge mission, and we can't do all of that. So we have goals and focus areas that help to guide our work. And Lydia's going to start by explaining one of our goals and focus areas.
You're muted, Lydia.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having us today. This is a great opportunity for you to know about the Disability Law Center of Virginia. Yes, because we have we would like to assist everyone with all the situations. We have um, worked on some goals and objectives during the year. So the first one, and we basically have big seven of them that we would like to talk about them today. People with disability are free from people abuse and neglect. And that is important because we want that um, they are protected from harm in the institutions that they are
Mhm.
in the community settings that they are living. We have also programs with representative payees, that is where the income they receive from Social Security. And so those incomes are used for the benefit of the individual with disability. Appropriate services in juvenile correction facilities is also one of our main concerns, that they get the education and the services that they could get, protection from harm in community or institutional settings, serving children and adolescents because they have a voice as well.
And this can be lots of different settings. This can be state hospitals, this can be juvenile correctional facilities like Lydia mentioned, lots of different places that we want to make sure that people are free from abuse and neglect. Our second one is really important. That's that we want to make sure that children with disabilities receive an appropriate education. We also work through this objective to prevent restraint and seclusion in schools, and we can provide guidance to families who have questions about IEPs. Lydia?
Yes, thank you, Rachel, because many parents really don't know about
Right.
special education and what services the children's are um, up to receive. So one of our third goal is that people with disability have equal access to government services. And many of them do not know what government services they have access to. So, for example, that there were not architectural barriers. They are able to go into a building and get into it. There are reasonable accommodations for them in those buildings. They can open the doors with a closed fist, and
Mm-hmm.
that they could have ramps and not impossibility because of the steps. They could access the social security benefits.
Right.
To, to vote for persons with disability is
Mhm.
a right. So we really are very interested in working for that right and access to services for adults with uh, trauma, brain injury.
Traumatic brain injuries, right?
Trauma, and those services start even from school.
Mhm.
Rachel, basic elementary kindergarten schools.
Right. And we're going to talk about the importance of voting rights and our work in voting rights in just a few minutes. Our next goal is that we want to make sure that people with disabilities live in the most appropriate and integrated environment. That means that they have access to services in their communities, that if they need CSB services, they have access to that, that if they're in a group home, they're still integrated within the community, and that if they need to enter into a building, like it's accessible for them to access that building.
That is also connected with employment. People with
Mm-hmm.
disabilities are employed to their maximum potential. And that is one of our goals and objectives. And that it will connect later on with our portion about vocational rehabilitation services. So working should not be a barrier for people with disability because there are many services that could give them training, skills, opportunities. So as long as they have a disability that um, are interfering from getting a job, keeping a job, and advancing in that job, all those individuals need and could receive these benefits. So barriers to work for Social Security beneficiaries is one of our goals, that they receive what belongs to them. The
Mm-hmm.
vocational rehabilitation services are done by two main agencies in Virginia, which is
Right.
the Department of Aging Rehabilitation Services called DARS, D-A-R-S, and the other one is the Department for the Blind and Vision Impaired,
Right.
DBVI.
BBVI. And we're going to talk about that actually in our next presentation about the rights that you have as a client of DBVI or DARS or your local Center for Independent Living. So the
And that
next,
is protected by the employment rights under the ADA.
right. And it's also, we also advocate for those rights with our client assistance program. And we'll be covering that in the next presentation. So the next goal is that people with disabilities have equal access to appropriate and necessary health care. For example, if you need an interpreter when you're going to the doctor, you have a right to have that interpreter. And as long as you schedule that in advance with your doctor, they need to provide that interpreter. So we help to make sure that individuals who need medical care know about their right to having appropriate and necessary healthcare and accommodations in those healthcare settings.
Yes, we need to remember that you need to request it. Just
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah,
you know
you do need to
you
request it.
need
You
the
can't just
service, please
right.
remember
You can't
to
just show
request
up
it.
and expect that it's going to be there. A lot of the time, you do have to request it.
Yes,
So,
and
Lydia, you want to?
so the last goal we have is people with disability increase self-advocacy through education and training. And we maybe talked about that important point later on, because
Mhm.
it goes with self-determination. We are the ones that could ask, request, and get whatever we think we need. So,
Mhm.
how we provide those kids and that information and help with acquiring those skills through presentations like this one,
Right.
information referral, to educate and train the public on these subjects, because these valuable resources are available and we are here to assist.
And
It
that's
is a skill to acquire.
right,
We,
and that's a
we
great
don't go
point.
and talk about ourselves all the time, all right, Rachel?
That's a great point, that the reason we're here today is to help with that training, to make sure that you know about your rights. So we can do a whole lot of things, but um, we have goals and focus areas like we just talked about. So we can provide services ranging from either general information about your legal rights, to more individualized technical assistance, advocacy services, and legal representation in some cases. Although we'd like to resolve every single issue, as we said, we don't always have the staff or funding to provide those advocacy services. But one thing that's important to understand is that even though our office is based in Richmond, if we have a client in Southwest Virginia that we're representing for a DARS or a DBVI advocacy case, we travel to that client. We don't just work with people who are in our area. Lydia, do you want to tell them about maybe some things that we cannot assist with?
Yes, I would like to have. It's an easy list that we want to really you to know that
Mhm.
even we do not work on those types of cases, we will be glad to give you referrals and information. No one will call here and leave without getting some
Right. Help
information
everybody who
for a
calls.
place to be guided. We don't work with divorce cases, criminal cases, family law custody cases, workers' compensation cases. That is not our area as well. Civil
Mhm.
suits, bankruptcy, assisted suicide, drafting wills, and estate planning. Uh, we don't do consumer protection issues, tax issues, pension, property disputes. Those are cases that we don't deal at this office.
Right.
Again, that doesn't mean that you cannot call us. At least we can refer you to
To
someone that
the
can
right
give you
group that might be able to
information.
help. Right. So the last thing that we wanted to talk about in this, well, one of the last things we wanted to talk about is voting rights. We know that it's important for people with disabilities to have that right to vote, and they do have that right to vote, and they have to be able to expect certain things when they do go and vote. And every election we have, Disability Law Center often will have a survey where on our website where people can go onto our website and tell us about their experience with voting, because we want to make sure that people have access to curbside voting, that if they can't get out of their car, they have a space where they can pull up. And there's a number to call so that they can call and tell somebody that they're waiting outside for their to curbside vote. We want to make sure that if a person with a disability requests assistance with voting, that they accept that request and that they are able to help with those tasks. We want to make sure finally that there's accessible equipment like shown in this picture, and that staff knows how to work the accessible equipment or help you understand how to use it if you're a person with a disability who needs that equipment.
Yes, access to those places is very important, because you don't
Mhm.
have to get out of the car
Right.
to uh, exercise your rights, and that is
Right.
very important, Rachel. Yes, we work very hard on that. I want to give you quick information about vaccine accessibility, because right now, um, our concern is that people with disability have the proper access to the vaccination, that the place that they go to get the vaccine have access for them to get into there. That the provider gives them information and a material that they are able to read, for instance, or answer the questions they may need. And if you are finding any barriers about vaccination, please call us. We will, if you call because your insurance or your physician in your area is not accessible, as I said at the beginning, you have problems with that, call us. You can call us if you don't have a curbside. Remember now, you can do it outside by the windows, or you don't have to get into the pharmacy. The same way that we do with the voting and architectural access. Um, if anyone denies an appointment, um, because at the moment they are not accessible, or for any situation that you feel it is not right, call DLCV. We are here to assist you. And if the place that you are is not adhering to the regulations, the 6 feet distance, a gloves, mask, and you feel unsafe in the area, please call us. That is important for all of us. Safety. We need to comply with all those regulations. So you can call us at 804-225-2042, or you can go to our website, www.dlcv.org/get-help.
Help.
And
Right.
you can do there.
And there's lots of ways. We want to thank you guys for listening to our presentation today. There's lots of different ways that you can connect with us. You can call us, as Lydia mentioned, at 1-800-552-3962 or 804-225-2042. We have an advocate on duty on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays who can assist. She's our intake and referral specialist, and she can assist in doing an intake at that time over the phone. You can visit our website at www.dlcv.org. You can also request help on our website at www.dlcv.org/get-help. You can watch our podcast on Spotify. You can connect with us on Instagram, on Twitter, or on Facebook. So
enjoy our podcast. They are just not funny, I may say, but they are very informative in a nice way.
They're excellent. So I think. Okay, so that's the end of the first presentation.
Thank you so much. We appreciate all of that helpful information, especially in regards to the voting and also the vaccination. Of course, it is very crucial information at this point. So thank you. We appreciate your time on that. And if you guys have any questions or concerns, we do have this presentation up and have their contact information there, but I will also include that with any posting of this presentation so it's accessible to you. And if you have any questions or concerns, you can always contact us here at momsinmotion.net. Thank you so much and be well.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.